Our today's agenda is to take up the UPSC CSC mains question paper 2024. From GS3 perspective or GS3 point of view, we will be in today's class discussing those things or those questions which were a part of economy segment. Okay, and most of the questions would be basically from a very general perspective itself. I mean, this time the paper was not very tough. In fact, if you observe the question paper, you will feel like all the general things which you will cover as a part of preliminary examination, everything will be replicated in the mains exam also. Chuddam. So, explain the pattern and trend of public expenditure on social services in the post-reforms period in India. To what extent this has been in conscience with achieving the objective of inclusive growth. There are the two parts of the question. Okay, if you observe, there are basically two parts in the question. One is basically demanding public expenditure post reforms ante post 1991 period. What is the trend of expenditure? And another component that is been touched from this question is they ask you to mention about the inclusive growth. Okay, first of all, try to go with the reversal aspect of the questioning. What is inclusive growth? The growth which includes every section in the country without any form of discrimination, without undergoing any aspect. Clear? Like there are multiple components of inclusive growth. If you observe, inclusive growth can be achieved through what sense? Elimination of regional disparities. This is one component of achieving inclusive growth. We can also achieve inclusive growth by ensuring financial inclusion. It is one another component of inclusive growth. Inka? How can we achieve inclusive growth? Any other? By eliminating social discriminations. This you could have mentioned. With that, inclusive growth can be achieved through the process of growth of three sectors in the economy. Three sectors meaning agriculture, industries and services. So this idea should be the basic theme of the question. What is inclusive growth? This component of inclusive growth have been proposed in the 11th 5-year plan time period. Okay. The idea of inclusive growth, this question concept ni brought in 11th 5-year plan time period. Okay. So, to achieve inclusive growth, what are those efforts that are put by the government after 1991 is the question asked. So, what the examiner expects from you is that you already know what is the idea of inclusive growth, and with the programs or with the activities that we have performed post 1991, did we achieve that idea of inclusive growth or not? So slightly I want you people to connect it with something like welfare state. Where is it mentioned in Indian polity, welfare state? TSPSC Article 38? Yes, Article 38 speaks about the concept of welfare state. So, there are two components of economy. One is called welfare, another is called development. But the question already asked you to touch the component of welfare, not development. Okay. So, after 1991, how our economy have transformed? We have been a socialistic economy, then we have transformed to the market-led economy. Okay, that is what we have basically witnessed after 1991. So from 1990 to early 2000s, we have marked a slowdown in the public expenditure. Okay, education we are spending how much? This kind of statistic, this kind of data you would have presented. How much we are spending on healthcare? Hardly 1% of GDP. Though it is increasing nowadays. This percentage is increasing, witnessing a growth nowadays. Next, from 2000s to early 2009, we have marked by reprioritization of social spending. Example, we have spent on literacy, we have started spending on health, we have started spending on employment generation. They are all the different components of inclusive growth. For employment generation, after 2005, we have started spending on what program? MG Narega. For healthcare, a program this question, Mama? Which program you could have mentioned? You can mention about Jan Arogya Abhiyan, or else it is also called what? Ayushman Bharat. Okay. 2010 onwards, we have shifted towards the right-based approach, that is the right to education, National Food Security Act. Ilanti components you could have mentioned in the inclusive growth. What are the components of inclusive growth you could have mentioned? Like, first of all, you should touch two things. One is how to achieve inclusive growth, and the second is not overall. Try to understand. We should not touch the overall aspect of inclusive growth. Only after 1991, we should be touching that particular point. So, various programs you could have mentioned. In fact, take a chudandi. Inclusive growth. A programs mentioned for financial inclusion. You can mention about Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. How we have achieved financial inclusion, like Jan Dhan Yojana. What is the main motive? To opening up bank account, which are basically a no-frill account. Next, to eliminate regional disparities. What program we have? To eliminate regional disparities, what program we have in India? Ek Bharat, Shrestha Bharat. We are also observing Ekta Divas. This you can mention about. Then, agriculture inclusiveness. What we are doing? Simply you can mention about PM Kisan. Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi. Next, industrial inclusiveness. What you can mention? You can write this, no? Startup India. You can write about various other entrepreneurial programs also. You can write about MSME policies likewise. Mudra also. Then you can write about gender equality. What have we done for gender equality? To achieve gender equality, what are the efforts we have put? Okay. Here slightly you can connect with polity, where you can say parliament seats are reserved. 33% reservation is being provided. You can ask the gender equality question. What else you could have written for gender equality? Any other article of the constitution? Article 15, okay, speaks about no discrimination. Inka? Equal, we have got this, no? Equal Remuneration Act. Which year? 1976. Equal pay for equal work. Equal Remuneration Act. Mentioned CH. Inka, the other aspect of inclusive growth, you could have also mentioned about this thing like employment generation. Dintlo you could write about the skill development, NSDM, National Skill Development Mission. You could have also written about successful implementation of MG Narega. Okay, one interesting question, which I was predicting very much this year also. 4 labor laws was asked. What are 4 labor laws? Why we have brought labor laws? To simplify the existing more than 100 labor laws. In India, the process of labor licensing, the process of the labor rights are not adequately protected. That is the reason in the year 2019-20, we have brought code on social security, code on minimum wages, code on occupational safety, code on industrial relations. Likewise, we have enacted 4 labor laws. That is also to promote the inclusiveness. Okay, that is also aiming to achieve inclusiveness. So, how the flow of this question will be there? Equation key. In the introduction section, you would have mentioned about some data related to the public spending, like we have done what percentage we are spending on health, what percentage we are spending on education, likewise. Then you would have mentioned about the components of inclusive growth and how we are achieving inclusive growth in India. This should be the focus of the first question that is asked. Again, you could have also connected it with several challenges that are associated with inclusive growth. Okay. Ivannitki kuda manam solutions kuda we have discussed. World Economic Forum have given 3 practical ways for countries to boost the inclusive growth. First is investing in citizen capabilities. Second, labor law reforms. Third, invest in labor intensive economic sectors. Okay, three kinds of suggestions that are given by which body? World Economic Forum. Dani gurinchi meer ikkada mention cheyochu. That's what I was saying. Next question, if you observe, what are the causes of persistent high food inflation in India? Comment on the effectiveness of the monetary policy of RBI to control this type of inflation. Right. What is inflation? What do you mean by inflation, first of all? Sudden rise in the price of goods and services. ఇక్కడ టచ్ చేసింది ఏందమ్మా? They have decided to ask from you food inflation. What do you think are the reasons of food inflation? Basic inflation reasons will be demand and supply. High demand is high, supply is low, the price will go high, right? Inka food inflation reasons are monsoon. Yes or no? Because in India, agriculture is dependent on monsoon. 63% of the agriculture is relying on monsoon. That is the reason we need irrigation also. Okay. Next, inka food inflation reasons enti? Food industrialization. Yes. Increase in FPIs, right? Food processing industries. Increase in food processing industries. Food has become a industrialization topic. Okay. Because why food processing industries are growing? One of the most important reason of growth of food processing industries is middle class income population is growing. Okay, middle class income పెరుగుతుంది అని అంటే naturally it leads to what? Demanding more of the processed food. ఇంకా what can be the reasons of food inflation? War. Did we witness any war recently? I don't think. Okay, but you can write about this pandemic and everything. Okay, pandemic and any other disaster. Inka global ineffectiveness of the food sector. Globally, if you observe, the inputs cost will increase. Particularly, you can write about import of edible oil. Russia-Ukraine war valla this oil prices will be definitely increasing. Adi meer mention chesi undavachu. Inka what are the reasons of food inflation? Water. చెరువులు ఎండిపోవడం రాష్ట్రం కదా మాన్సూన్ దాంట్లోనే వచ్చేస్తుంది. టైం లైక్ ఓకే you can mention about this particular point like surplus labor in agriculture are already shifted to industries and other sectors. Okay, that is the shift of agricultural laborers to the other sectors. మీరు మెన్షన్ చేసి ఉండవచ్చు. Okay, there are all the reasons of various reasons of food inflation. చూద్దాము. As per RBI 2016 to 20, the average food inflation was 2.9%. This has more than doubled in 2020s to an average of 6.3%. It has reached as high as 8.7% in April 2024. Try to understand. Basic inflation target in India is only how much? Enta target undamma? 4 plus or minus 2%. So food inflation is severely high. Okay, adi meeru mention cheyali. High food inflation, supply and demand reason you will write. Temperature and weather, fuel price rise. This is one another reason which you can quote. Fuel prices are rising. Avuna kada? Okay. Post harvest losses may be because of the cold storages and everything. Increase in the input cost, fertilizer prices పెరుగుతున్న, labor cost increasing. Government policies like MSP ఇట్లాంటివన్నిటి వల్ల కూడా food inflation అనేది రావచ్చు. Trade policies. One more thing, you might have heard of this thing like the concept of virtual inflation. విన్నారు ఎప్పుడన్నా? What is virtual inflation? For food only it will happen basically. Virtual inflation ante government is wantedly creating inflation. Okay, government shall procure the stock. Once it is procuring the stock, they will not release it to the market. And once they are not releasing it to the market, naturally artificial inflation will be created. ఆ తర్వాత ఏం చేస్తుందంటే, when the prices are severely high, when the farmers, the people are demanding for reducing the prices of goods and services, the government will automatically release the stock. This activity is basically performed by NAFED. Which organization? NAFED is the body who is performing this kind of activity. At the same time, you'll see like price of tomato is increasing, price of onion is increasing, price of potatoes are increasing. All of a sudden, within 2 days, within 3 days, the government shall curtail all the prices. It is not possible to grow tomatoes in 2 days. But the government will supply tomatoes within 2 days because it have already got the stock. Virtually, it is creating the inflation. Okay. Next, who will control inflation? Controlling of inflation is done by whom? RBI. Okay. What are the tools used by RBI to control inflation? RBI shall use monetary policy tools. Okay. Question ఏమన్నారంటే effectiveness of the monetary policy to control this kind of inflation. Okay. Inflation targeting. Who will do the inflation targeting? Try to understand. Inflation targeting, whenever you write, you should mention central government plus RBI. Central government will do the inflation targeting in consultation with the Reserve Bank of India. Indirect impact of interest rate adjustments, exchange rate management and imported food inflation. Imported goods వల్ల ధరలు యొక్క పెరుగుతున్నాయి because it is also a component of BOP, no? Balance of payment లో imports ని చూపిస్తామా చూపియమ్మా? We'll show it. Transmission of monetary policy to agriculture sector credit. See, is agriculture a PSL? Is giving agriculture loan a priority sector lending? Yes. But agriculture loan lo credit lo ఉన్నటువంటి main problem ఏంటమ్మా? Main problem involved in agriculture credit. Yes. Main problem associated is, please. Recovery is less. అవునా కదా? Main problem ఏంటంటే recovery is less. Once they are issuing the agriculture loan, later on they will be demanding for waive offs. They will be waiting for the government. ఈ రోజు లోన్ తీసుకొని 5 సంవత్సరాల వరకు వెయిట్ చేస్తారు. దట్ ఈస్ ద మెయిన్ ఇష్యూ ఇన్ అగ్రికల్చర్ క్రెడిట్. ఓకే, రైట్. సో ఎఫెక్టివ్నెస్ ఆఫ్ ద మానిటరీ పాలసీ ఆఫ్ ఆర్బీఐ టు కంట్రోల్ this type of inflation. You don't have to see, you don't have to mention about any other types of inflation. Only thing which you need to stress here is food inflation. Okay, acha, just tell me, in food inflation, can we take two concepts like shrinkflation and shrinkflation? Any mention cheyacha man answers lo? What is shrinkflation? Shrinkflation means decreasing in the quantity of the good. Shrinkflation means decreasing in the quality of the good. Shrinkflation and shrinkflation are basically related to the food products itself. Yes, you could have mentioned that. Government em cheyachu? Agriculture infrastructure penchachu. Price stabilization. In fact, see, government have done with, brought a scheme, no, PSF, Price Stabilization Fund. Who is Price Stabilization Fund? Who to favor whom? Consumer or producer? Price Stabilization Fund, it is to support the consumer. PSF. Okay, who is maintaining this fund? Price Stabilization Fund. Ever maintain chestarama dini? NAFED and SFA, small farmer agencies or small farmer associations. Okay, PSF will procure the produce of the farmer to tackle future inflations. That is the main motive. Procure the produce of the farmer, that is to tackle the future inflation. And you could have written about these three things also, no? Top, tomato, onion, potato. It is from the government perspective. We have brought which program? Operation Greens. Scheme right ikkada? Operation Greens lo you could have written about top, tomato, onion, potato antam. So apart from RBI, government could also taken AIF right? AIF, Agriculture Infrastructure Fund, you could have written. Okay, so it's very easy question, easy to tackle this question, and I hope you would have enjoyed writing this particular question. Kada? Okay, next. Conclusion em rastamma itlanti questions ki? What kind of conclusion you could have write? See, inflation is never bad. Yes or no? Inflation is never bad because it creates a proper economic cycle. It makes the economic cycle run into the proper flow. And we are slightly crossing the target with regard to the food inflation. but this shall definitely lead to the promotion of investments. Yes or no? Inflation will ఏమవుతుంది? Investments will increase, employmental opportunities will increase, savings will also increase. With that, the reinvestment shall also boost. Factors responsible for successful implementation of land reforms in some parts of the country. This was another question asked. What do you mean by land reform? Distribution of land to the landless. Ekkadi nunchi start chestam aa concept ni? What is the base for writing this question? I mean, from where you will bring the literature for this? See, basically, why it was asked in GS3 is because it is a part of economy also. It is slightly a part of your, this thing, I mean, security also. Okay. Why Naxalism was started in India? భారతదేశంలో నక్సలిజం ప్రారంభం అవ్వడానికి గల కారణం ఏంటి? వాట్ ఈస్ ద రీజన్ బిహైండ్ ద బిగినింగ్ ఆర్ లాంచ్ ఆఫ్ నక్సలిజం ఇన్ ఇండియా? Very good. The main reason of Naxalism in India, the main fight for Naxalism in India is for Jal, Jungle, Jameen. They fought for Jal, water. They fought for Jungle, ownership of forest. They fought for Jameen, that is the ownership of rights. The distribution of land to the landless has been always the agenda of the government since independence. That is the reason post-independence of India, immediately we have enacted the new schedule called Schedule 9 of the Constitution. It speaks about land reforms. Schedule 9 was brought by first Constitutional Amendment Act of 1951. But since 1951, land reforms have not been successful all across the country. And moreover, it was not the demand across the country also. Distribution of land to the landless was never a demand all across the country. In North India, Naxalism is not seen. Naxalism ekkade kanipistundi? Red corridor lone kada? Yes or no? Naxalism can be seen at origin ekkada? At Naxalbari village in West Bengal, spread to Dantewada region in Chhattisgarh, spread to Malkangiri region of Odisha, Khammam Prantam in Telangana, Srikakulam, Andhra Pradesh, Udupi, Karnataka, and also the whole of Kerala. This particular belt where there is a spread of Naxalism is called Red Corridor. It's called what? Red Corridor. And one of the step to control Naxalism or to eradicate Naxalism is to bring land reforms. That is not just to control, one of the steps to control Naxalism is land reform. And land reform primarily aims at empowering farmers. Because you know very well, you should have written the statistics related to the farmers in India. Farmers can be classified into how many types? Marginal, small, semi-medium, medium and large farmer. Nearly 86% of the farmers in India are marginal and small farmer. Yes or no? And many others are agricultural laborers. We say PM Kisan, evariki istam? Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi 6,000 rupees, 6,000 rupees investment support. We would be giving to whom? Only those who are a part of land holding. Not to everyone. So, for the upliftment of the farmer, first of all, we should give them the ownership rights. We should give the land ownership rights. That is the main idea of land reform. And what is the main motive of Jamindari system? Connect with history. What is Jamindari? Through first Constitutional Amendment Act, we have brought land reforms. For example, Jamindari system. To understand Jamindari system, you should understand permanent settlement system. You should have connected with Warren Hastings. You could have connected with Lord Cornwallis. Avuna? Warren Hastings nundi Lord Cornwallis, because whoever collect the larger revenue would be given the ownership of the land. That was the permanent settlement. That was the Warren Hastings system. Later on, the revenue was fixed. That is called permanent settlement system. And this system actually continued till India's independence. Later on, we have given ownership. Whoever have collected the land revenue were given the ownership of the land. That resulted into the Jamindari system. And what we have done in 1951 is, for example, if one farmer is having, one Jamindar is having some 1,000 acres of land. What he was doing is, suppose some 900 acres is given on lease, some 100 acres he was personally cultivating, he or his family members. Through the first Constitutional Amendment Act, what we have done, only those land was given to the Jamindar which was cultivated personally. Remaining all 900 acres of land which was cultivated by different farmers, different peasants, that land was redistributed to them. That is the motive. Okay. But this all historical points you could have mentioned in only 2 to 3 lines. Okay now. They did not ask background of land reforms. They asked why land reforms is successful in few states. What do you think are the reasons of success of land reforms? Sorry? Bhudan movement, okay, inka? Strong leadership. Only few regions it is successful. A regions Rastrama. You can write about Kerala, you can write about West Bengal. To some extent, you can write about Jammu Kashmir also. If you connect with history, Jammu and Kashmir can also be written. But land reform, basically you could touch West Bengal and Kerala. Okay. And that is the reason, in fact, in these 2 states only, CPI political party will be more popular. Avuna kada? Okay. Political will and strong leadership. Ideological commitment. Okay. Governments like West Bengal, they have an ideology which are more pro-poor. Okay. Effective peasant movements. All your movements you can write. Okay. Active participation of the local communities. This is the reason kada. More participation, active participation of the locals. Okay. Next, efficient administrative machinery. Okay. This you can write about Jammu and Kashmir here. Clear and unambiguous laws. West Bengal. Mostly, West Bengal case study raste chalu. Okay, entire presentation. Few parts of the country and take a success. AP la success. But they have tried. They have definitely tried. Chhattisgarh government says, if you are a Naxalite and surrender to the government, you would be given 2 lakh rupee compensation plus government job. Odisha says, if you are a Naxalite and surrender to the government, you will be given 3 lakh rupee compensation plus government job. Andhra Pradesh government says, late YS Rajshekar Reddy, when he was the chief minister, if you are a Naxalite and surrender to the government, 10 lakh rupee compensation plus government job plus distribution of land to the landless. The agenda here is, they're not fighting for the land, they're not fighting for the government job. They're not fighting for the financial compensation. But the protest is distribution of land to the landless. Next, diniki inkoka, support is judicial support also you can write. Decentralized governance. Ante? What do you mean decentralized governments? You could have mentioned about local self-governments. Local self-governments also you can write. Itlanti question ki conclusion em rastaru. Before writing the conclusion, you should write certain challenges like not successful across the country. Okay. Inkem rastaru? Technically you can write 1 point. Other form of compensations can be announced. Because geographical land cannot be increased, no? Farmers are increasing day by day. Land penchacha. Geography, can it be increased? Area of the country, can it be increased? Cannot be increased unless and until we acquire Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Akraminchukunte tappa, we cannot increase. Okay, anyways, legal loopholes is one challenge, ma. Legal loopholes like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madras, there was no limit on the size of land that could be declared to be under the personal cultivation of the Jamindar. Land ceiling brought by the government of India, but should be implemented by whom? States. Challenge law, in fact, inkokati entante, you could have mentioned about land is a state subject. Avuna kada? In the seventh schedule of the constitution, land is declared as a state subject. It is a discretion of the state whether to take a decision on land reform or not. Okay. Large number of exemptions to the ceiling limit. Okay. Corruption also you can write it as one of the challenge. Challenges to be addressed in the Ashok Dalwai committee, what he has recommended? Why we have appointed Ashok Dalwai committee? Very good, very good. Ashok Dalwai committee was appointed to look after the doubling of farmers' income. He recommended certain land titling, land leasing, creating a national land use policy. Ilanti konni recommendations cheyadam jarigindi Ashok Dalwai committee. And దీన్ని సీరియస్ గా తీసుకున్నది ఫార్మర్ ఐపీ గవర్నమెంట్. జగన్మోహన్ రెడ్డి ల్యాండ్ టైటిలింగ్ ని సీరియస్ గా తీసుకొని దట్ వాస్ ఇన్ ఫ్యాక్ట్ ద రీజన్ ఆఫ్ defeat of Vice Jagannath Reddy in the recent elections. Andhra Pradesh, you might have heard. Land Titling Act, where passbooks were printed with the photograph of the Chief Minister. Then the opposition, then TDP have projected it like జగన్మోహన్ రెడ్డి ఈస్ ఓనింగ్ ఆల్ యువర్ ల్యాండ్, మొత్తం భూమిని కూడా జగన్మోహన్ రెడ్డి తన పేరు మీద తాను రాసుకుంటున్నాడు అని చెప్పి దట్ వాస్ ఆల్ అ కాంట్రవర్సీ వెరీ రీసెంట్లీ ఆల్సో. ఓకే, ప్రమోటింగ్ కోఆపరేటివ్ ఫార్మింగ్, అమూల్ మోడల్, ఆనంద్ ఏదైతే ఆపరేషన్ ఫ్లడ్ ఇస్ అ సక్సెస్ఫుల్ అమూల్ మోడల్. ప్రైవేట్ సెక్టర్ పార్టిసిపేషన్, in fact this particular point was protested during the 3 farm laws. What are 3 farm laws? Though they were repealed, 3 laws kada. First law is supporting selling of the produce outside APMC mandi, antena. First law says you can sell the produce outside the APMC mandi. See, agriculture is the most important topic in UPSC mains. Mains lo every year you can see at least 2 to 3 questions from agriculture. This year also millets was asked, land reforms has been touched, buffered stock is also asked. 3 questions vachinayi kada isari. Okay. Second law speaks about contract farming. Third law speaks about amendment to the essential commodities. Okay, certain goods were removed from the essential commodity list. Okay, dantlo contract farming was protested because of the privatization. And this protest, in fact, if you look at, they were restricted to the North India, not in South India. Why so? Because in South India, contract farming is not a new concept. Understand? In South India, contract farming is already a known concept. Kerala, Karnataka, tea plantations, coffee plantations, all are undergoing a contract farming only. Okay. Digitization of land records can be done. Niti Aayog advocacy of large scale land licensing. Niti Aayog could have review recently was done. Okay. All the land records in India are under the single platform, like we have brought a platform. What is the name of? This is one scheme. National Digitization of Land Record. This year budget they have presented. I'm not recollecting the name of the scheme, but year budget there was scheme related to that. Okay. Presumptive land titling, need to shift conclusive land titling, as this can reduce the land related disputes, okay, for which account 2/3 of the all pending court cases in India. 2/3 of the cases in India are related to the land disputes only. Okay, so ilanti konni suggestions you could have mentioned. Very easy question, very general question asked this year. Explain the role of millets for ensuring health and nutritional security in India. Generally you can write. Okay, millets. Which year we have declared International Year of Millets? 2023. Okay, India Year of Millets? 2018 suppose. Okay, so what we are doing to support millets, first of all, explain the role of millets in ensuring health and nutritional security. First ఇది అడ్రస్ చేద్దాం. మిల్లెట్స్ వల్ల లాభాలు ఏంటి? ఓకే, మిల్లెట్స్ ఐ థింక్ హెల్త్ పరంగా చూస్తే we have lots of benefits which you can have mentioned, like diabetes management, cholesterol management, gut health. It can promote the gut health, bone health management, celiac disease management. So ఇట్లాంటివన్నీ కూడా మీరు రాసి ఉండవచ్చు. ఓకే, government initiatives. 2018 we have declared National Year of Millets, renaming millets as the Nutri Cereals and Shri Anna. Okay, millets ని మనము న్యూట్రీ సిరల్స్ గా డిక్లేర్ చేస్తాం. State specific initiatives like Karnataka Raita Series scheme aims at providing financial incentives to the farmers growing millets. Like Telangana also have brought KCR breakfast. Vinleda? Okay. Andhra Pradesh have brought millet meals, one time in a week, millet meals. Okay, likewise state initiatives also you could have mentioned. Midday meal scheme. Odisha have introduced millet based recipes in school meals to provide better nutrition to the children. So ilanti konni initiatives rayachu. Very easy question, general question was asked. What is the need for expanding the regional air connectivity in India? In this context, discuss the government's Udan scheme and its achievement. Udan means Ude Desh Ke Aam Nagarik. Udan ante entama? Ude Desh Ke Aam Nagarik. What is the motive of UDAN? Why we have brought this scheme? Simple, to increase the air connectivity, okay, to make flight travel affordable to all. That is the main motive. Maximum price of a flight ticket is rupees 2,500 for a distance of 300 km. Maximum price. And all the major towns, we should set up an airport. That is called RCS, Regional Connectivity Scheme. RCS. Every area should be connected with the airport. Why we have need for expanding the regional connectivity? First, decongesting overloaded metros. Okay, major urban areas like Mumbai, Hyderabad, Delhi are experiencing this problem. Economic and trade development. Airport vaste definitely that city will get an economic push also. Tourism, promotion of tourism can also happen. Enhancing national security. Okay, ekkadekadaithe manaku airports untayo natural ga we can use it for the army, defense and air force aspects. Disaster management can be simplified when we got the airlines. This all you could have mentioned. Okay, subsidized airfare for a 500. No, I think it should be 300. Okay, 300 or 500? 300. Okay, 2,500. Viability gap funding. Okavela adi viable avvakapothe price lo ivvaka airlines ki nashtalunte viability gap funding will be done. Development of airports. What model we are using in developing airports? Which model we are following in India to construct airports? Mostly PPP model. Okay, dantlo edi which one we are following? PPP model, there are two things. One is called passenger fee model and the other is revenue sharing model. Passenger fee model and the another one is revenue sharing model. Most of the airports in India are constructed by Airport Authority of India in alliance with any private partner. Okay, you should have mentioned about two agencies, in fact 3 agencies. One is AI, Airport Authority of India. You should mention about DGCA, Director General of Civil Aviation. You should have mentioned about AERA also, Airport Economy Regulatory Authority. Okay, ఈ 3 agencies ద్వారా we are trying to increase the scope of connectivity, particularly the airline connectivity in the country. Okay, PPP, private partnership in developing regional airport infrastructure. Okay, so there are different features of which scheme. UDAN. UDAN means Ude Desh ke Aam Nagarik. Okay, achievements of UDAN. As per the Ministry of Civil Aviation, UDAN is operating 2.8 lakh flights serving 1.43 crore passengers. Increased regional connectivity. Okay, total number of functional airports in India have almost been doubled from 2014 to 2024 only. Okay, affordable air travel. Growth in regional aviation. Star Air, True Jet, Air India ఇట్లాంటివన్నీ కూడా regional aviation ని promote చేస్తున్నాయి. Development of infrastructure like in fact if you look at these 2 airports like Andhra Pradesh lo Kadapa and Kurnool airports, newly constructed airports, they are the examples of RCS only, regional connectivity scheme itself. Boost to the regional economies and tourism, they are all there. Okay, next question, if you look at elucidate the importance of buffer stock for stabilizing agriculture prices in India. What are the challenges associated with the storage of buffer stock? Discuss. What do you mean buffer stock? Buffer stock ante entama? Okay. Who will have this component of buffer stock? ఎవరి దగ్గర ఉంటుంది బఫర్ స్టాక్? మిగులు స్టాక్ ఏదైతే ఉంటుందో that will be with whom? FCI. Where we use this term buffer stock? With in context of FCI, Food Corporation of India. Buffer stock means in case of any future disaster, in case of any future emergency, any future risk, this particular stock can be utilized and ensure the food security. That is a primary motive. But if you look at it in the different dimension, inkoka dimension lo దీన్ని అర్థం చేసుకుంటే Buffer stock are basically to store the food grains in the country. Okay, try to understand. Whenever we come up with the concept of buffer stock, in this regard, we have got the utilization of buffer stock at subsidizing the food grains to the people of India. Okay, buffer stock valla manam em chestunam FCI valla at the subsidized prices we may supply food grains. The best example is PDS, public distribution system. Another one, ICDS, you can write ICDS, integrated child development scheme. Another one is PM Poshan or midday meal scheme. PM Poshan, earlier it was called midday meal scheme. So through all these initiatives we can basically use this buffer stock. But question lo em adiginaru, importance of buffer stock. Okay, what are the challenges associated with the storage of buffer stock? Okay, buffer stock ni nilva unchukodam valla, ante itvanti stock ni nilva unchadam valla there are various challenges that are involved. What do you think? Okay, first of all, buffer stock are the reserves of essential commodity aimed at stabilizing agricultural prices and ensuring food security. Buffer stock anadi malli cheppali naku, is it to favor it is to favor the consumer or producer? Buffer stock, no doubt we will procure the produce by paying some prices, minimum support price, procurement prices, and announcing FRP. FRP government will not pay, remember. Fair and remunerate, 3 types of prices. Gursunda? In agriculture, we will pay 3 types of prices. One is called MSP, one is PP, other is called FRP. Minimum support price, procurement price, and fair and remunerative price. Okay. What is the difference between these 3? Minimum support price is announced by the government before harvesting. Procurement price is the price announced by the government post harvesting. Minimum support price, there is a list of mandated crops. List of mandated crops. 22 plus crops are there. Whereas under procurement price, there is no such list. No need to give the number of crops where you will issue the procurement price. Can there is a list primarily mentioned. And FRP, MSP is the farmer benefited price. Whereas procurement price is the government benefited price. Government avasram unte kontadi ledante leda, ante simple. Whereas minimum support price avasram unna lekunna the government should buy. And they will buy and send it to FCI. In FCI, this will act like a buffer stock, protection. In case of any future emergency, future disaster, COVID, lantid, enta pedda COVID vachina manam danni edurkogaliginamanటే it is all because of the buffer stock. We had the National Food Security Act came in 2013. Nearly 83 crore people are covered under NFSA 2013. Yes or no? 83 crore people are covered. Only in the midday meal scheme, we are every day feeding somewhere around 20 crore people. Midday meal scheme, 19 to 20 crore people. Under midday meal scheme, whatever the population who eat in India are equal to the population of Brazil. We are feeding one Brazil every day. That is a success of midday meal. That is the achievement of NFSA 2013, National Food Security Act. Very prestigious initiative brought during the era of Dr. Manmohan Singh. And why, if we go to the background again, why food security was successful in India? It is all because of grassroots put by Green Revolution. Akka nundi start ayindi. Akka nunchi teeskoni raavali. Okay, anyways, come back. So, we will is it MSP a legal right? In fact, last year also I was expecting a question on MSP. Is MSP a legal right or not? No. MSP is not a legal right of the farmer. That is the reason 2024 farmers are protested again. This year, what is the reason of farmer protest? 2020 they protested against farm laws, 3 farm laws. 2024 again they have protested. Why so? Legalizing MSP. It's not a legal right. It's a scheme which is common all across the country. Okay. But fair and remunerative price, it is the price which is announced by the government, but this price is paid by the private player. Remember, ఈ ప్రైజ్ని అనౌన్స్ చేసేదేమో గవర్నమెంట్ అమ్మ, కానీ గవర్నమెంట్ కొనదు. Paid by the private player. FRP, fair and remunerative price, we are issuing only for one crop, that is called sugar cane. ఏ క్రాప్కి ఇస్తున్నాం మనం FRP? షుగర్ కేన్. ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్. ఓకే, బఫర్ స్టాక్ వల్ల ఇంపార్టెన్స్ ఏంటంటే డెఫినెట్లీ మిటిగేటింగ్ ప్రైస్ వాలటిలిటీ, ఏదైతే మారుతుందో ధరలు దాన్ని కంట్రోల్ చేయగలుగుతాం. మిటిగేటింగ్ గ్లోబల్ సప్లై డిస్ట్రప్షన్, stabilizing farmers' income. This can be there because we are procure the goods, no? PDS, export management, meeting emergency needs. Challenges. Definitely there are certain challenges involved. In fact, this is the theme of the question. Wastage and quality degradation. Excess procurement, because in India we have got more procurement, that is one another problem. Management and leakages. Okay, Shantakumari committee ఏం చెప్తుందంటే 46% of the PDS grains do not reach the intended beneficiaries. 46% అది కరప్షన్కి గురవుతుంది. ఎవరైతే నిజంగా అర్హులో, ఎవరైతే నిజంగా ఎలిజిబులో వాళ్ళకి ఈ బెనిఫిట్ అనేది రావట్లేదు. దే ఆర్ నాట్ గెటింగ్ ద రియల్ బెనిఫిట్ ఆఫ్ PDS. పబ్లిక్ రేషన్ షాప్స్ యూ మైట్ హావ్ హర్డ్ PDS. నెక్స్ట్, inadequate storage infrastructure, that is another problem. Chhattisgarh have brought an initiative like a PDS law, coloring of the lorries, coloring of the trucks, PDS trucks. That is to eliminate what? Eliminate the leakages. Like introducing GPS in the PDS trucks, so that a PDS, a BM load cheskoni డైరెక్ట్గా డీలర్ షాప్కి వస్తుందా లేదంటే డీలర్ ఇంటికి పోతుందా చూడొచ్చు. ఓకే, దట్ ఈస్ త్రూ ఇంట్రడ్యూసింగ్ ద GPS, global positioning system in PDS. We can do that. Also, we have brought two things like TPDS and RPDS. TPDS means targeted public distribution system, targeting the real audience, because ultimately the problem here is beneficiaries are being identified by the states. అవునా కదా? Who identify the PDS beneficiaries? రేషన్ కార్డులు ఇచ్చేది ఎవరు? States only. Identification of beneficiaries done by the state, that is another problem. Very recently, Nirmala Sitharaman was visiting Telangana, one ration shop in Telangana. She started questioning a district collector. Why is it the photograph of Narendra Modi is not there? I mean, photograph of Prime Minister is not there. Only the photograph of State Chief Minister is visible there. Because it is being provided to all the states subsidized by the Government of India. Who will procure FCI? Who will give it at the subsidized price? Government of India. State governments will add some money to the existing PDS. Next, financial burden on the government is there definitely, yes or no? High cost of procurement, storage, management, especially during the years of large scale purchase. Into the straining the budget. Okay, budget pay barama kada idi. Definitely it is a burden of the government only, no? Yes. Okay. Koni committees you can mention like Ashok Gulati committee, revision of the buffer stock norms based on actual requirement for the PDS and emergency situation. Ashok Gulati, very important. In ఏమంటాడంటే, we should not procure more. We should procure only that amount of food grains which are necessary. ఏదైతే మనం PDS స్కీమ్ని ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేయడానికి కావాలనో అంతే ఫుడ్ గ్రెయిన్స్ని ప్రొక్యూర్ చేయమని రికమెండేషన్ ఇచ్చింది. దట్ ఈస్ అశోక్ గులాతి కమిటీ. క్యాగ్ రిపోర్ట్, యూస్ ఆఫ్ టెక్నాలజీని యూజ్ చేయమన్నారు ఇన్ FCI. Shantakumari committee, it suggested the decentralizing the procurement process by encouraging states to take up the procurement based on their regional capabilities. Who said that? Shantakumari committee. Okay, Ashok Gulati committee you could have mentioned, and Shantakumari committee gurinchi kuda you can write. India's world's largest grain storage plan aims to create 70 million tons of modern storage through cooperatives, enhancing rural ఇది కన్క్లూజన్లో రాయచ్చు ఇట్లాంటిది. rural capacity, improving grain handling and reducing post-harvest losses by building silos and warehouses in undeserved areas. Clear all of you? ఎక్కడైతే అండర్సర్వ్డ్ ఏరియాస్, ఎక్కడైతే ఈ సేవలు అందుబాటులో లేవో, ఎక్కడైతే ఈ సర్వీసెస్ అందుబాటులో లేవో అలాంటి అన్ని ఏరియాస్లో కూడా మనం స్టోరేజ్ ఫెసిలిటీస్ని పెంచాలి. At the same time, we will be having a target. ఏ టార్గెట్ పెట్టుకున్నాం? వరల్డ్స్ లార్జెస్ట్ గ్రెయిన్ స్టోరేజ్ ప్లాన్ని మనము అతి త్వరలో ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేయబోతున్నాము. సో టు ఎన్ష్యూర్ ఫుడ్ సెక్యూరిటీ, బఫర్ స్టాక్ ప్లేస్ అ వెరీ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ రోల్. This kind of points you can mention in the conclusion section. Is that clear to all of you? So they were the questions asked in the very recent UPSC GS3 from the economy point of view. Though only 8 questions were asked this time, like every time. Okay, but the point is definitely paper is easy when it comes to the GS3. Dintlo I'm not touching the technology related aspects, I'm not touching the security related aspects also. I'm only confined to take the economy related segments. Okay.